Greetings, Internet, and welcome to Aaron Plays, and I hope you're doing fantastically well. In this episode, I'll be continuing my playthroughs of PanzerBlitz. These are opposed plays with a guy from Finland called Harri, and we're now up to situation 4. So we've done the first 3 situations, which is all 1, but doesn't matter, we're having fun. Now, situation 4 has a few issues. Well, according to this, anyway. Now, considering we're using the revised cards, this still hasn't been addressed, because it's telling that the Soviets can win by getting to a certain board, and it leaves one complete board out of the equation. But we found an article in the General that was mentioned in a few places, and that article revises the victory conditions, and that will be the victory conditions we will use. And I'll explain that when we get down to the boards. We have completed the game. I'm not going to say who won or lost, but it was very, very, very close. A couple of 6s either way. That might give you a hint if you watch the other videos. But anyway, I'm not sure if I'm going to put this into 1 or 2 videos as yet, because it depends on how long it takes to go through. Because I say suppose play, but it's done by the log files, i.e. you only hear my dulcet tones and, of course, my opinion. So anyway, let's go down to the map and see what's going on. Here's the game map. Okay, so you can see it's done lengthways. Okay, the 3 maps in total. The Soviet forces will be arriving here on anywhere along this board edge on turn 1, and they start coming in. The Germans come anywhere from here through to here after the Soviets. To win, both sides have got slightly different victory conditions. The Germans have got to preserve as much of their force as they can and stop the Soviets reaching this board. Now, in the original, it was this board, which meant if they were coming in over here, they only really had to get to there, which meant the other board, board 1, was pretty much not going to be played, which didn't make sense. As I say, someone wrote an article in the General many years ago. We got a copy of that, and it revised it to the Soviets need to get to board 1. And for me to get a marginal victory, I had to keep the amount of Soviet units onto this board less than 30, and preserve a few of my units. We'll go through that in detail when it actually comes up, essentially. So the Soviets coming on here in turn 1. We had a bit of discussion about the victory conditions and such forth, but then we got down to the Soviets coming on. Now, I'm going to zoom in and zoom out when necessary. The Soviets do have a lot of forces, whereas the Germans don't. But let's bring on. Now, as I say, in the intro, I'm not sure if this is going to be 1 episode or 2. We'll see how long we go for. Yeah, the game played quite quickly, but it was over 2 sessions. So we're then talking about road movement, and here they come. I think this is some T-34 76s moving up. We then discussed about road movement. Then we worked out, and then the next guy comes on. So yeah. So this is a question of where, as the Germans, who I'm playing, I should just mention that Harri's playing the Soviets again. There's 4 games that we've played, and each time are we rolling it randomly? To this scenario, I would have said the previous three scenarios have heavily favoured the Soviets. That's because I lost to the Germans, of course. But yeah, this one, I think is probably the closest of the four that we've played so far. And yeah, I'm just clicking through. I'm not counting out his movement points because we did that in the game. These Soviet units are powerful and they're fast. So 11 movement points. Whereas we look at a German, the closest is the Panther, which is 10, but then you got the Panzerjäger 4, which has only got 8, and such forth. So the Soviets have got a movement advantage on the Germans. So when I'm trying to pull back, I can be caught. So, and he's got a lot of tank forces. Got our tracks. When he's coming on the road there, each unit is paying half a movement point extra. Because they're obviously queued off the board. If he comes on an open hex, then he doesn't have that restriction. Again, I think we were talking about movement points here. Yeah, that is, I think it's an IS. Oh, what is that one? Is it an IS2? Or is it? I can look on the card, can't I? It's IH 52. So yeah, and they keep coming. He's only got 7 movements. That's probably the slowest unit he's got. More half tracks. And we were talking about quantity and quality, and obviously quantity has a quality all of its own. And he's starting to set up, obviously, a traffic queuing system there on the 2 roads. And that's them all done. So he's got quite far on the board. He's over halfway. And this is just, the first turn. So I've got to stand and fight somewhere. It's just a case of where. So where do I come on? Well, I come on as close as possible as I can. I can't come on the half hex. Half hexes don't count for anything like victory conditions or anything like that. It's got to be a full hex. So I've got 2 options. I come with trucks. You can see I'm going as fast as I can towards the east. Or the west even. I know my north's out yet. The west. Moving away from the east. Now that is a very powerful unit. You can see he's got a 60 attack factor. The 40. So this is where I've got for a change, some decent units with decent firepower. And yet one of the odd things, I'm going to use a truck to slow up his movements, deny him road movement as much as possible. I tried to work out if I came in here, that would have been 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I couldn't get to the road. Otherwise, I would have placed a truck there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. No, see, I couldn't get to the road. Ideally, a truck there, or even better still there, would just slow up his movement rate, but I couldn't get there. So just basically, that means I've dismounted the infantry in that hex. Again, I'm looking at things that could be speed bumps. Because I don't have really the strength to fight him toe to toe. Okay, so that actually completed turn 1. The PanzerBlitz does have some really quirky rules that, might not be, well, in fact, probably definitely wouldn't. Probably definitely. That's really good English, isn't it? Probably definitely. Okay. wouldn't be included in a modern set of rules. That's line of sight is not reciprocal. To be able to for him to target these units in woods and urban areas, he's got to be adjacent. He's got to have a unit that spots for them. Whereas they can obviously fire out if the enemy's in the clear terrain. So if a Soviet unit was here, I've got a German unit there that could fire, I can't fire at him because I can't see him. And this is where the Panzerbush thing comes into effect that everyone criticizes the game for. I'm starting to swing the other way, in that the each hex is 250 meters. So even a unit here, which is 500 meters, would have difficulty to see someone that's in a built-up area. To my mind, unless they're standing there going, "Ooh, can you see me?" It's 500 meters is a heck of it. It's a kilometer. You all right? Maybe in some really flat areas in Russia, maybe you can see that far. But for this game purposes, I think it's starting to work well with me. We're not talking squad leaders, well, 40 meters or whatever it is a hex. This is a fair distance. Anyway, enough waffle and moving on to turn 2. And here they come. Moving along the gully. Let's say, look at the strengths of those units. 15. So the first, 15 attack value, 8 range. Or on the one now that's on the top, 12 attack value, 6 range, 9 defense, 11 movement. And either keep coming. So, yeah, as I say, ooh, no zones of control. He's just completely bypassed that. And again, no defensive fire, no opportunity fire. Not in PanzerBlitz. I think they introduced it in Panzer, but it wasn't. I mean, they say it improved the game. I don't know. We'll see when we get that far. As long as you're aware that there's no opportunity fire, you can start planning accordingly. Yeah, they keep on coming. Just clicking my way through. So, and yeah, we're talking as this is going on. Road movement. Remember, they can move. It's a half movement point per hex. Our tracks are half movement point per hex as well, and 1 in the clear. And these are carrying, they're all carrying stuff. That's infantry. Yeah, infantry being carried. Back on the road. And yeah, as you can see, it is an overwhelming force here. I think I'm outnumbered about 4-1. I'm just going to speed it up a little bit. We talked about that guy being slow. And he called it the conga. They just piled up behind. Cleared it all up. So that's the end of his. So this is now I start, right, okay. First real decision point for me. Do I stay or do I go? It was. I sat there for a few minutes thinking about it, and I was working out, well, if I fire at that, working out targets, and we can use these little markers that weren't in the other module. I only found these actually very useful. Because remembering in PanzerBlitz, all attacks have to be pre-designated before you actually make a roll. So I was working out what I was going to attack. So as you can see, I decided to fight because remember, if you fire, you can't move. And some of these were auto kills, didn't even require a die roll. because I'm finding if I'm using a dice, I don't hit. So if I can get auto kills, great. So, and then we're replacing losses. So as you can see, quite effective shooting. He was thinking, he was at this point thinking maybe he pushed it too far. He got too close. But see, I had to make a roll, and I rolled the dreaded 6 again. Anything but a 6, and he was gone. What did I roll? A 6. This carries on from the previous games I've played. And yeah, I only dispersed him and missed him. Yeah, sorry, yeah, I rolled a 5. So, there we go. I remember now. I rolled a 5 on him, whereas a 4 or less would have killed him. And I rolled a 6 on him, where anything but a 6 would well, I don't know. It was just like 2 high rolls, and I was hoping to take them all out. And odds were I should have taken them all out. I didn't. So then I was sort of working out where I'm going to move whatever other forces left. Because I need to make some form of defense line. Because you can see it's vastly open terrain on this map board. So I'm unlimbering some anti-tank guns. Unfortunately, they've only got 6x range, and leaving them, pulling my trucks back. Because if they get destroyed, they count as a unit. Remounted my infantry up because I realised that they're actually not going to do much there. Moved a truck here to at least hold up the road. So, you know, he's a forlorn hope. In fact, he's just a forlorn. He's not even a hope. Gone. Yeah, pull him back. And this is where I'd forgotten we're on to turn 3. I should have removed my fired. He can overrun my vehicles. For me, my mind still thinks of overrun as purely armored versus infantry or anti-tank guns. He just overrun my vehicle. And he could do that because I hadn't taken him out because of a bloody stupid die roll. Yeah. So, yeah, just one tank. So he'd be overrunning with 12 to 6, which is 2 to 1, but you get a column shift. And so you get a -2 for an overrun as well. So yeah, he's going to be gone. That's when I realised, I should have removed the fire markers. And he's now realised maybe he should be moving into cover rather than allow me to shoot into pieces. And then he's encroaching pretty much everywhere. He continues his move. So in 2 turns, he's pretty much, well, we're into turn 3 now, aren't we? In 3 turns, he's covered 1 map board. So I'm thinking, another map board by turn 6. Unlimbering infantry. Now he's used the road, so he can't close assault me. But he's there. That means if I stay where I am, then I'm going to be taken out the following turn. So I've got to pull back here in my turn 3. So, and he's bringing up anti-tank guns and everything. And I'm like, oh, I'll just speed it up a little bit because you can, it's the end situation of each turn and then the conga. Okay, so that ends his movement on turn 3. He had that overrun, boom, taking it out. So I'm now working, well, is it time now to dash, to go? Because there's a lot of, and I'm working, this is where I'm working at, is it worth fighting, or just pulling out? What would you do? when you see that amount of Soviet units? Would you stay or would you go? I sort of worked out, well, because of the speed that he can travel at, he can overrun me anyway. So I might as well try and take out as many of his units as possible and then go. So I took one more out because I couldn't see that unit. He only had 8 movement. He might have been able to get to this hex here, but that's about it. So at least I took out another one of his major units, to my mind. And I've done an overrun. Yay. Um, Wheedling through. And again, is that right? No zone of control, no opportunity fire. I don't know. The overall, let's say the individual units that are moving sometimes look a little bit incongruous, but the overall result looks right. And all right, so the trucks are holding up the road. Are they actually trucks? Yes, but I reckon it's just a couple of guys who left behind, knocking down trees or whatever. You can use your imagination to make them whatever you want them to be. Talking about gullies at this point, because it costs you move. It doesn't cost you movement. Blah, blah. Speak English, Sibley. It doesn't cost any additional movement to move along a gully. It costs you additional movement points to move out of a gully or riverbed, as in this case. So, and that's a nice 88 that I positioned there. The better position, in retrospect, would have been there. But hey ho, I'm still sort of learning the game. This is only my 4th ever play of. Actually, that's not true. 5th ever play of PanzerBlitz. I've done scenario 1 with my brother, but that was more of just teaching him how to play the game, and he was a bit meh with it. He prefers the Undaunted and Combat Commander, which is fair enough. We all have our different tastes. Is this the best game going? No. Am I enjoying it? Yes. Have I started turn 4 for the Russians and just carried on? Right. He's just overrun my Panther. I think he does bring up additional. There we go. Let's take out the Panther. Yeah. Now this is the one I've got 3 units in there. I brought in something infantry to support it and back up, and he still overruns it because in the open. So those are the overrun attacks. He's now bringing up some infantry to take out that truck. That's slowing down his mass movement. I'm just getting some more additional markers out. Yeah, so the marking units move when they're unlimited. It doesn't seem to be working too well with this particular module. So that's why sometimes you see a little bit of back and forth movement. She's actually getting the word moved on the counter. So here they come. Getting more infantry coming down. Okay. Again, we're having little chats about different hexes and such forth. And him moving up the conga line. Remember, this is turn 4. All right, so we did the overrun one. That took out the Panther. And then he rolled a 1 on that attack, which was enough to actually take him out. And I thought, because it was a 1 to 2, I thought I had a good chance of at least keeping something there. But no, he took the whole step, all 3 units gone, boom. And I was like, that did cheese me a bit. I was like, and then that truck gone. Okay, so as you can see, I am being swiftly depleted. This is turn 4, and this is where we finished the first session. So we then started session 2. So I might as well carry on through. The game does play relatively quickly. So my 88, I thought, oh, he's got a target there. I'm not starting thinking maybe the best things to pick off is not his tanks, are the things that are being carried by tanks, because they're A, they're easier targets, and B, it knocks out 2 units. Remember, I've got to cut down the amount of units he can get to board 1. So I'm thinking that's maybe the way to go. Take out, because the tanks are a lot harder to take out. That was an auto kill with the 88, and that was a disperse. That was pretty much everything I had. I was working out where to move my. I had to move me trucks first because traffic control is part of the game. Um, Try to pull back as much as possible and not remain in the open, because the open, he overruns me because he's got the faster movement. You know, this guy here with 8 movement would only have got to about, well, he started there, so it'd been 3 up the hill, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I got there, he'd just overrun him. Here, he's now not, he can't shoot at him while he's in this position until he's got at least 1 unit adjacent, which slows him down. Again, he can't target any of these units until he's got a unit adjacent to him. And this one here, I wish I'd placed him here. I'm in such a better position, because then he could, as you will see, yeah. Anyway, he can't fire on him until he's got a unit adjacent. So we now move on to turn 5. And I don't know what we were talking about there, but we're obviously using, yeah, can't remember. There we go, the end of the log file. So we haven't quite started 10. Oh, we were probably talking about maybe you should have fought here, or maybe you should have fought there, and such forth. Start new log file. New file. Load game log. I want log file. There we go. Save game. No. And when we started, this was actually the next day. I thought I had a slight change of mind on something, which was basically he needs to destroy more than 15 units. So I thought it might be worthwhile getting some of my trucks out of the way. Okay. And then they come. Just walking straight past me. Not much again. Can't opportunity fire. I'm not sure how the opportunity fire works in PanzerBlitz. I'm gonna have to read the rules. It's apparently backward compatible, but then will that change the balance of these scenarios? Then again, how balanced are these scenarios? Oh, press the wrong button there, didn't I? Oh, darn it. How balanced are these scenarios anyway? The reason why I ask is because obviously this one had been theoretically play tested, and theoretically it's gone through a whole revision, and yet they still had the Germans trying to defend that board 3. We're on to turn 5, and he's already got more than enough to actually have a victory. So we're not even halfway through the game. So sometimes I wonder how these things are. Well, you know, I know we're talking back in 1970, 71. So yeah, how balanced are these scenarios? How much play testing is actually done on them? I think that's an inherent problem with games even today. They get play tested by 2 people or 3 people. That's not enough. And most of the play testing actually gets done. This is why especially with GMT games, you get a second edition quite quickly. because they then when they release the game, they suddenly got thousands of people played it. So, all right, hundreds. Yeah, I know we're in a niche, but that's when the real playtesting begins. Because if you've only got 2 or 3 people playtesting it, you're not getting enough visual or accounts of how balanced these games are. Because you've got different styles of play. I mean, I'm generally quite aggressive. Other people, people I've played in the past are quite cautious. That's 2 approaches straight away, and then you've got someone in between. So that's 3. So how can it be play tested by 3 or 4 people once or maybe twice? Doesn't work. You need a lot more, and that's where we get play testing by the game being issued. Okay, Jamin Guns. So we're turn 5 for me. I managed to make a few. I think that's going to be an auto kill, is it? So he's got defense of 2. The infantry, because it's riding on the trucks, and I've got an attack of 13. So that's going to be an auto kill. I'm trying to work out what I can fire up with my 88. If I'd have placed him, as I said earlier, if I'd placed him there, I could start taking these guys out. Foolish man. Foolish man. You're hearing a slight sniffles and there's a few pauses because hay fever has struck. So yeah, I'm trying to do this without sneezing on screen. So if suddenly you hear a bit of silence for about 2 or 3 seconds, that's because I've paused the button and blown my snoz. Anyway, moving on. So we are killing a few Soviets here, but not quite the ones I want. Yeah, right, shift the attack. And that anti-tank gun, nothing in range, 6x range. Yeah, okay. Trying to diminish as much Soviet units as possible, getting to board 1. So again, a turnaround to fight here. Was that a sensible thing to do? Maybe I should have gone more. And as you can see, the truck coming off here, they're trying to get out of dodge. Because at this point, okay, the actual losses, I've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. Ideally, I need to keep the losses less than 15. Now, consider I only have 17 or 18 on the board to start with. Hold on, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I have 17. I thought if I can get 3 units away, it might help me towards getting the marginal. Getting a tactical victory, not going to happen. But it has created a different dynamic to the previous 3 situations. A fighting withdrawal. And I got that feeling while I was playing it. It was a fighting withdrawal against overwhelming odds. So I thought, now again, that's just a truck. Why is that important? Well, I reckon there's a general in there, someone important, someone we've got to get out of the way, preserve. And in this truck, this is aide de camp. And in this truck, is mistress. Very important we get her off the board, get them all off the board. Is that offensive? Oh, I don't know. I can't keep track of what's offensive and what's not offensive these days. Getting the half track out. Keep just trying to preserve as many forces as possible because I know I'm going to lose quite a bit. All right, so we're into turn 6 of the Russians, and here they come. That's why I wish I'd put that 88 on that other side of that wood. But we learn. Yeah, they're all coming close now. There's not much I can do to stop this at all. I'm hoping that time is going to help me because this is turn 6. So he's only got 4 turns of movement after this turn. So can anything survive next turn? Well, we shall soon see. It's just a horde. And yeah, They just keep coming. So infantry assaults coming in. Again, not much I can do about them. Guns taken out. You can see the die rolls even on that. Yeah, because it's not shooting. That's it. Okay. So this is where my 88 can't do anything but shoot. So you'll shoot at one of them there. And just a comparison, that's 20. That's going to be 40 attack factors to 10. That's 4-1 shot on him. But because it's a shot, okay, let me just bring up the combat charts at this point. Is that in here? Yeah, there we go. So we're talking 4-1. All right. So that's all X's. And then on a 7, no result. When you're firing someone in the woods or a town, notice the word firing, you add 1 to the dice. This is why I'm saying it should be an auto kill, but you roll, whoops, you roll a 6, you add 1, a 7, no effect. You know what I'm going to roll, don't you? And this, I was even saying to her, I thought, blimey, I know what's going to happen. And here, all right, that one's going to attack that. 20, double to 40 against a defense of 9. So this is why I was thinking, well, maybe I should fire, rather than fire at that one, fire at that one, because that's still carrying, that'll be 2 units killed. And that would be an auto kill because it's in the open. And again, this one here, I was thinking maybe I should take out that or that. That would be an auto kill because, again, it's just a truck, defensive 1, no +1 because it's in a wood or a building. I wish I'd listened to my own advice. So that took it out. It couldn't, I mean, I could have overrun from there to there, taking out a truck, but then he would have been overrun himself. So, yeah. But I did auto kill there. But now, let's see what happens. Well, I sort of, yeah, that's the first 6. Miss. I thought, I can't do that again, can I? Of course I can. Of course I can. So if any of you watched the previous 3 episodes, you will now start to know why I dread rolling even at 4-1s with a +1, because I always seem to roll 6s. If either one of those two, well, keep it in mind, if either one of those had pulled off, because I'd have taken out, well, 1 more Soviet unit, but I might have actually been preserved for another turn. So again, just let's get out of Dodge. We've got no way of stopping the Soviets, so let's just get out of here. Force preservation as much as possible. Removing my fired markers, and we are now into turn 7. Yeah, he's wiping out my units pretty much here. Gone. Oh, yeah. Sorry, he rolled a 4, then a 5. Not brilliant results, but good enough. Again, 4-1s +1s. Every single one of them. Boom, boom, boom. Harri, well done, Harri. You've obviously got the dice gods shining and smiling at you from left to right, from right to left, because not one of those was a 6. Because any one of them, I'd still have a unit there. Yeah. What can you do? So as you can see, I pretty much have nothing that can oppose him left, other than time. And here they come. You know, a little bit of infantry. What's that going to do? I'm just moving this quite quickly. And to be fair, we played the game relatively 10 turns. We did it in about 3 hours total. Close assault on that. I'll just take that back a little bit. Yeah, on that anti-tank gun there, right in the middle of the board. That was a close assault by the infantry, 8-2, 4-1. And When you're close assault, you're at -2, +1 for the terrain, +1. That is an auto kill. When you're shooting, you don't get the -2 for the close assault. So yeah. Then my turn. I've got nothing that I can't fire. I can fire, so I'm just pulling back. Force preservation. I was hoping that I could keep some, units alive. At the present moment, we are now turn 8. KIA situation. I can't seem to find it. Oh, why? Is that it? Yeah. So at the present moment, I've lost what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I can't get a tactical. I'm fighting now for a marginal victory by slowing him up. So let's see what happens now. Okay. And he's now getting, and there he is. He's on the board. Remember, this is only turn 8. Still got 9, 10 to go. But the trucks are slow. There's no through road. Some of them are getting there, but yeah, a truck and a unit counts as 2, and he needs 30 for a decisive victory, 20 for a tactical victory. More tanks coming through. Near nothing to stop him. A couple of non-sixes on my behalf and a couple of 6s on his behalf, and that would be totally different. Yep, another one of those sneeze pauses. Bloody hay fever. I hate it. Had it all my life. Gets right on your wick. Okay, so back to me. And now we're into my turn 8. Pulling back. And this is where I thought, well, let's move forward to his infantry and close assault. One of his trucks and close assaults it. And I took it out. So that's 2 less units that can get onto the board. We're now onto his turn 9. So we're just, there's no shooting. He's just getting his units as quickly as possible onto that board. And I'm just, I'm not going to talk about any deep tactical analysis at this point. It's how much can he get to the board edge. And you can see I've taken out a fair few, and there's just more of them. So that big boy, he ain't going to get there. Right, so this is my turn 9. I move forward again. My little infantry unit. I move a few vehicles back. Another close assault, and I disperse them. But disperse means I knew that they weren't getting there. So we're at turn 10, the last turn. Okay, currently he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units on board 1. That don't count at the moment because it's on the half hex. As I said, anything on a half hex doesn't count. So how we said, well, let's work out. Let him just. What are we doing? That's right. We're just counting up units. How many I'd lost off board. So here they come. Just moving up. Just getting onto that board to count towards victory. That one that just got to there doesn't count. Neither does that one. That's it. So that's his movement. He has a total of 18 units on the board. I have lost. Where's my killed in actions? At this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 units. Okay. This is when we had to go through what do the victory conditions say on that article. They were a bit tricky. But essentially, okay, I have achieved a marginal victory. I've taken, was it less than 15 losses? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, less than 15 losses, and there's less than 30 Soviet units on board one. So that for me is a marginal victory. For me to get a tactical, I'd have to have taken less than 10 losses and less than 20 Russian units on the board. There are less than 20 Russian, but I have taken 11 losses. So I can't have the tactical. And that means for him, if I'm denied a tactical victory, he gains a tactical victory. I've got a marginal, but he's got a tactical because I was denied a tactical. Therefore, he won the game. Boo-hoo. I thought that was damn close. You know, if I'd managed to preserve one more German unit, or it was less than two more German units. Yeah, or well, that was it. If I'd preserved two more German units, then I would have had the less than 10 losses and less than 20 Russian units on that board. I'd have had both of that. That would have been a tactical victory for me and only a marginal victory for him, which then I'd have won because my degree of victory would have been better. So it was close. Maybe I should have worked it out earlier. So, I mean, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units still in the game. I need to have 8. So 2 more. If I'd have pulled out 2 more, especially that pack, I don't know if you remember back here, there's a pack of 3 of them. We're taking all out in one go. It's like, oh. Maybe I shouldn't have turned around and fought here and concentrated fighting at this point. Also, I'd forgotten that he could overrun my vehicles with his vehicles, and that was the most effective way of taking them out. Again, I'd probably have retreated quicker and done a bit, especially with the 88. Oh, why didn't I put the 88 in that hex when I could have taken out maybe 1 or 2 of these guys before they got too close? That's the margins of the game. It was that close. And it was a damn lot of fun. Let me bring it back to me at the top of the, back to my face. That was the closest I've taken Harri to the game. Now, okay, he has played a lot of, I say a lot, all right, a fair bit of PanzerBlitz in the past. However, he's been, and we were talking about this, when he's been playing it in the past, he's been teaching other people to play it. And he's sort of teaching me, but I've got a bit more experience in tactical gaming than his prior opponents. So at least when we've got visual, we're using Skype as a means so we're actually able to talk and videoize each other. I can see that he is having to think. He's not going blah 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 done. Okay, I've got him going. That to me is a victory. I said to him, really, I think this should have been a draw, but the victory conditions are written so you can't have a draw. It's by far been the most fun out of all 4 scenarios so far. So what's next? Well, he's played situations 1 to 4 before to the conclusions, I think. Or no, did he say he never played 4 conclusion before? And the next up is PanzerBlitz 5, which he hasn't played to conclusion either. And for the first time, he's going to be playing the Germans. So yeah, but I'm on the defensive as the Russians, and he has a feeling this is not such a good scenario. He said this was the worst one he played prior. I said, well, we could go straight on to situation 6, but we might as well play them all and see how they go. So that'll be in the next exciting episode of Aaron Discovers PanzerBlitz. I hope you enjoyed it. If you could do me a favor, remember to hit the like, subscribe, and any comments would be much appreciated. And after I finish recording this, I'm going to be working out my Soviet defense to see how I stop Harri. I mean, he's just seen he doesn't. There's no sitting back. You've got to go. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But until next time, I hope you're looking forward to it. Have fun, play games, buy internet. I'm trying not to sneeze.